All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today on our Phone.com webinar. We're going to be teaching you how to create a basic schedule setup for your business. So my name is Derek Lewis, and I'll be your presenter today, and I'm currently a customer service representative at Phone.com. And just to give you guys a brief overview of what I have planned, we're first going to go over how to configure your schedule. We'll then go into setting your schedule exceptions. So these are great if you have holidays, company meetings, or maybe an extended lunch that you need to account for outside of your schedule hours. We'll then go into all the places on your account where you can apply your schedule and your call forwarding rules. And if we do have some extra time, I would like to show you guys one of our advanced schedule setups that I've created. We will be doing an advanced schedule webinar 2 weeks from today, so just to kind of give you a sneak preview of that. And last but not least, if you guys have any questions, feel free to enter them in the GoToWebinar questions tab, and we're going to answer those at the end for a nice Q&A. So before I even get started, I'm just going to send out a quick poll. I would like to see how many of you are currently using our schedule feature, or if this is your first time. So let me send this out and just to kind of get a baseline for where we're starting here. All right, so awesome. Looks like 75% of you have never used the scheduling feature before, so that's great. Definitely the market we were going for. So let me close that down and we will get started. And for those of you that had, this might be a great overview, but definitely let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so jumping on into the practical aspects, the first step you need to do is configure your schedule by adding it to your account. There's a set of hours that you can add for your schedule. There's daily, weekday, weekend, and custom. And I'm going to show you all of those in an interface and how those work to set up. So let me pull up my account here, get logged in. So if this is your first time exploring the schedule feature, it's always going to be accessed under the configure menu on your account. In our case, we're going to do add a schedule to do a brand new schedule. Step one is to give your schedule a nickname. This is great to reference if you need to edit it in the future. I'm going to call ours Monday through Friday business hours. So definitely keep that as detailed as possible should you need to adjust it. So some people have a lot of schedules on their account and you don't want those to get lost in the flow. So I was talking about the schedule hours. Daily here, this is going to set your hours that you'll receive calls from Monday through Sunday. And all you do is you slide these two gray bars between the hours that you want to receive calls for. So as you can see here, the dark gray area, in our case, we're going to be receiving calls from, let's make it from 8 to 5 are our open business hours. And anytime outside of those hours, calls will be going to voicemail. So daily is pretty simple. Weekday, weekend is similar as well. Weekday, of course, is Monday through Friday, and weekend is Saturday and Sunday. If you toggle these off, it means you won't receive any calls during that time. So if I just want to receive calls during the weekday, I can again slide this between 8 and 5, or as close as I can get. These little bars are sensitive at times. And then weekend I'll leave unchecked, and that means I won't get any calls in the weekend. And the last one, which is really cool, is custom. This is going to let you set a unique set of hours for each day of the week. So I can, let's say, toggle Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Let's say I'm open the same time every day, Monday through Friday. So I'm going to do as close to 5 o'clock as I can get. And we'll start that at around 8 o'clock. And then let's say my business is open Saturday, but maybe I'm just open for maybe from 12 to 4. I can set that for 12 to 4. And there it is, close enough. And Sunday, of course, I'll be closed. So once you have all of your hours set, the next step would be to choose your time zone. Listed, we're over in Pacific time here. It has all the major ones there, and then you can get into details if you scroll down. So I'm going to leave that as is. So I'm going to choose, let's do weekday, weekend for our example. I'll just do a nice simple 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday setup. And I'm going to save changes. So once you save that, that is going to get you to your Manage Schedules page. If you want to get to this again, it's going to be under the Configure menu, and you'll choose Manage Schedules. From here, you can either edit the schedule directly with the edit box, or you can delete it, which will permanently remove it from your account. In our case, we're just going to leave ours alone. Okay, so jumping on into, now that you have your schedule made, the next step is to apply that schedule in the call handling rules of your account. There's multiple locations to do this. So my goal here is to kind of show you guys every single avenue you can take for applying your schedule, and then you can use your unique setup to kind of understand where it's going to be applied in your situation. So on an account, you can apply in the schedule from your phone number settings. You can also apply it directly from an extension for maybe a particular user, and you can also apply it from within your menu forwarding. So let's jump into the interface and let's show you how to apply it from your numbers. So to get to your number settings, we'll go to Configure and we'll select Manage Numbers. And we got our Manage Numbers page here. I will choose our 800 line to set the settings on, so we'll select Edit. That'll get you into the edit number settings, and then to get to the forwarding settings, you need to click edit on the number action box. Okay, so pay close attention to this screen. We're gonna, despite the different avenues we take to get to this page, it's always gonna be the same. So if you can kind of master the call handling rules, you'll be familiar with it wherever you are in your account. So in our example, let's say somebody's calling our 800 number, and we want all calls to go to a simple communicator extension during business hours, and anytime outside of business hours, we want calls going directly to voicemail. So to apply a schedule to your forwarding, you first change all calls, and you choose receive during. And then in the drop-down box here, you're going to choose the schedule that you made. So we'll choose our Monday through Friday business hours. And then what you do is you set the forwarding options for what will occur during your business hours. So in our case, I want to change select operation to forward call, and I want to forward my calls to my communicator extension on 503. You can also enter an external landline or a cell phone number in here. That's totally up to you. And if I don't answer during my business hours, I will have that go directly to voicemail on extension 503 as well. Okay, so that's half the puzzle. The next piece is that you need a second rule, which is going to apply to all calls on your account outside of your business hours. So to do that, you need to choose Add New Rule. And this is going to bring up another box like the one above. And all you need to do for this one is choose Leave Voicemail. So to give you an idea, it's a very logical process. It's going to check if the schedule hours for schedule number 1 are valid. If they are, they're going to do everything in number 1, starting with A, which is forward call to my communicator extension, and then B, which is leave voicemail on extension 503. If the hours don't check out for schedule number 1, it's going to go immediately to rule number 2, and it's going to check for all calls. It's going to say, yes, it's outside of business hours, and it's going to go immediately to voicemail. You can also, let's see what else you can do here. I could also send calls directly to a menu if I wanted to, instead of forwarding directly to an extension. So I could do, go to menu, go to my main menu during my main hours, and then after hours, let's say I want to go to an after hours menu. So I could just choose my after hours menu, and that would give you 2 schedules, or a schedule with 2 menus set up for that. Okay, so I'm going to save this out here. So that was applying a schedule directly from your number settings. There's also applying a schedule directly from an extension, which I'd like to show you now. So we first need to get to our extension listing page, which is under the Configure tab. And then you choose Manage Users and Extensions. You can see here I have 3 extensions on my account, and we will choose extension 503, which is my communicator. So we'll select Edit for the extension settings for that. And then we'll select Call Handling Rules on the left under Settings. If you don't see Call Handling Rules, you need to click Settings. and that'll drop down the box for you. Okay, so we'll get into that section. And then next, if you have a device attached to your extension, you'll need to choose advanced call handling rules. This looks exactly the same as you saw in the number section. So again, we're going to do receive during, and we'll do Monday through Friday business hours. And since this is my personal extension, I can choose for it to ring my device. So I'm going to select my communicator. And then if I don't answer during business hours, I will have it leave a voicemail again. Now let's do something a little different. I'm going to add another rule, and this is going to be for my after hours. But during after hours, instead of going to voicemail, I want it to go to my cell phone because I know I'm going to be out of the office during this time. So I'm going to do a second forward call, and then I'm going to enter my cell phone number here. And then if I don't answer after business hours, I still want it going to my extension on my computer. So I'm going to leave this up real quick. If you guys might want to take a screenshot to see how this is applied within an extension, feel free to print that screen out for yourself. Okay, ready to move on. So let me save that. So last and final place to apply a schedule is within your menu settings. If you guys are using a menu for your business, this is again is under the Configure tab, and it's going to be Manage Menus. From here, you'll select Edit for your menu settings. And let's say my business menu says to push option number 2 to go to our sales team. But my sales team, of course, is not on staff all day, so I want to go into their settings and have all calls after hours go immediately to the sales team's voicemail inbox. So same process again. Hopefully you guys have ingrained this in your mind. Receive during Monday through Friday business hours. In this case, I'm forwarding to Jenny Dempsey's 502 extension. She has her mobile phone. She's out in the field taking sales calls. And again, we'll add a second rule. And when she's not working, we're just going to send voicemails directly to her extension inbox. And that will apply it directly to a menu option. And you can do that for every single option on your menu. So if you hypothetically wanted a different schedule applied to each and every menu prompt, you can certainly do that within the extension for each menu. All right, so how's everybody doing out there? Got any questions I can answer at this time before we jump into exceptions? Let me see if we have any. Any lingering thoughts I can answer for you guys? Okay, we're looking pretty good, so I'm going to carry on. Next up, what we have is schedule exceptions. So these are great if you have any hours outside of your regular schedule hours. Let's say there's a major holiday coming up. Maybe you have a business meeting that you had unplanned, or you have some extended lunches that you need to account for outside of your schedule hours. This is where you're going to use exceptions. So exceptions are listed in the settings for your schedule. So we'll go to Configure, and we'll select Manage Schedules. And I'm going to choose my existing Monday through Friday schedule. And you'll see here we have a holidays and date ranges section. If you click yes for that, it's going to bring up a whole new little section. The first part is you can add a holiday. So let's say Thanksgiving is coming up pretty soon here. So if I don't want any calls on Thanksgiving, all I have to do is change Thanksgiving and then select add. And then just like the scheduled hours above, you're going to slide the bars between the hours you don't want your schedule applied for. So if I hypothetically wanted my schedule to not receive calls for the same hours above, I'm just going to do 8 to 5 up here. And you can also, this is a brand new feature we just added. If you want your exception set for a certain number of days before and after, let's say I don't want any calls before Thanksgiving, a day before, and I want maybe 3 days off after, I can just set that here, and it's going to extend that extension automatically be on Thanksgiving Day. So in addition to holidays, you can add custom date ranges. So if you go to the Add a Date Range tab, you can do a start date. So let's say today or tomorrow I have a company meeting on November 11th. I'm going to choose 11/7 and then I'm going to choose add. And we'll say my meeting is from maybe 12 to 2. So I'm just going to slide the bars between 12 and 2 or as close as you can get. And that's going to get applied immediately once you save your changes. The call forwarding rules will check your schedule. It'll check for any exceptions. And when it gets to this 12 to 2 time slot, it's going to forward all calls to the all calls section that you've created. I see a lot of people, they'll schedule out their entire year's worth of exceptions, and you can certainly manage those here. You set it once, you don't need to do it again. And if you ever want to delete an exception, all you have to do is just click the trash can icon and it deletes. All right, so those are exceptions. Let me jump in and see if we have any questions to answer. Christopher asked, can calls be forwarded to an answering service after hours? Chris, yeah, they definitely can. Let me go into my schedule settings here and I can show you how that works. So I'm going to go to configure and I'll choose manage numbers. And let's go into the settings for our existing number that we were configuring. So in Christopher's situation, he wants to send calls to an answering service after hours, which I'm assuming Christopher has an external line that you would forward to. So if I had, let's say, pardon me going quick here, I just want to get this all set up for you guys. So let's say during business hours, I'm forwarding to my extension, and then I'm forwarding to voicemail. So what he wants is, after hours, he wants to forward to an answering service. So he would, Christopher, you'd probably do a forward call in your all calls section, and then you would do your answering service number down here. And that's going to forward all calls immediately to that answering service that you have set up. Alrighty. So the last thing I wanted to cover with you guys is all the flexibility of schedules. We are doing, as I said, the advanced webinar setup in a couple weeks. I'm going to send you out a poll just to see if you guys would like to dive into maybe a custom schedule setup with me. I have daily custom schedules that I can show you. I also have schedules with multiple queues, and I have schedules with multiple menus, which I've already showed you. So let me pop up that poll and we can get going with those. So far, schedules with multiple queues is the winner. But let's see how it goes. Okay, I think it's pretty unanimous. 88% schedules with multiple queues is what we shall do. Great choice for everybody. So let me close down that poll. Okay. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with queues, they're a great way to set up call forwarding to multiple people. Kind of a good tool to use if you have a call center or if you have a sales team where you need to rotate the calls amongst members of your sales team. I'm going to make, let me see if I have any queues on this account. Okay, there we go. So no queues, good. So I can show you guys very briefly how this works. There is another webinar that we're doing on queues, so I do apologize if I don't go into too much depth, but this should give you a decent overview of how it works. So we'll choose configure. We went to manage queues. You can do, of course, add a queue directly. Of course, give a queue a nickname. We'll call ours our sales team. You can set a queue announcement. So this is what's going to play the first time that somebody connects to your queue. We'll just choose, we don't have a queue greeting, but let's assume this is a main queue greeting. You can modify your hold music. We'll choose piano solos, something nice and elegant. And maximum hold time, this is how long your caller will stay on hold for. After that time, it's going to go to the next rule in your forwarding section. So we'll choose, let's do 5 minutes. You can also do the caller ID to show members. It can either be the caller's ID or the called number. I'm going to say that my sales team is a bunch of guys with cell phones, and they're using it for their personal calls as well. So what I want to do is have the called number show up on the caller ID, which will be the phone.com number. And this is a great way to identify business calls as opposed to personal calls. Okay, so I'm going to add some quick fake cell phone numbers here. So I'm going to say I have 3 sales guys. So these are going to be my AM sales guys. They'll work in the morning. And I'm going to ring each of those guys for 20 seconds. So I'm going to change this to sales team morning. And then I need a second queue, which is going to be my sales team evening. So let me add that. Do the same announcement, do the same hold music, 5-minute hold time, and called number to show you. Let me add 3 more sales guys to our roster here. Okay. So now what we have is 2 different queues. We have a morning queue and an evening queue. We want these to forward to our guys out in the field at their respective times so they're not getting overlapping calls. So what we'll need for this is a couple schedules. So let's go to our Manage Schedules page, and we're going to add a new schedule. And let's call this one AM hours for sales. And I'm going to keep this as simple as possible so we're not digging into too much of your time here, but we're going to do weekday. And we're going to say our AM sales team is open from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. total of 5. So that's our first schedule. We're then going to add a new schedule, and we're going to do PM hour sales. We'll do weekday, weekend again. We'll choose weekday, and our PM sales team is going to be taking calls from 12, from when our last schedule ended, 12:05, and we'll push them all the way to 5 o'clock. Okay, so we got the schedules we need. We have the queues that we need. We can now apply these in our call forwarding setup. I'm going to do this from our number menu, or sorry, our number settings again, as I showed you last time. So we'll do configure, and we'll choose manage numbers. And then we'll do, let's choose our 858 number to start a nice fresh slate here, and we'll choose edit for number action. Okay, so all calls we'll choose receive during. The first schedule that we want to apply is our AM hours for sales. And during our AM hours, we want to choose go to queue, and we're going to choose our sales team morning. And so one thing to make clear here is what you need to do is set what happens once your queue maximum hold time expires. So in our case, we chose 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes, I want it going immediately to the sales team's voicemail. So we'll do add next action for this section. We'll do leave voicemail, and let's say John Davis 504 is our sales extension to leave messages on. So that's AM sales. We now need to do the PM sales. So we'll do another rule section. We'll change this one again to receive during. And we're going to choose the PM hour sales here. And this one again, we'll do select operation, change that to go to queue. And this one's going to stay as sales team evening. And again, once the whole time expires, I want calls to go immediately to the sales team's extension on 504. So that's half of the puzzle. Last piece is to add a final rule section. You need an all calls, and this is going to apply to all calls outside of both the AM and the PM hours. And for this, just to make it brief, I'm going to do a leave voicemail on the sales team's extension. I'm going to leave this up here for a moment if you guys like to take a screenshot or write it down. So this is multiple queues with schedules. All right. Thanks for that great choice. And that was the end of my presentation. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you do have any questions today that I don't answer during the Q&A, definitely reach out to our support line. We have 24/7 phone support at our 800 number, and also email and phone or Twitter support standing by.